I've been frequently asked recently what went wrong with the Liberal National coalition at the last election. And many people say, can it be saved? Can it be resurrected? Well, the answer to the first part of the question, in my view, is that there was a perceived lack of sound policy and conviction. And I firmly believe that the Australian people were ready to make a change, but they saw no evidence that on the big issues confronting Australia, enough thought, enough preparation, with enough conviction was there to make them switch their vote. The polls were suggesting that they were willing to, that many Australians were looking for a different direction in government. It is, after all, a simple fact that we now have the most left-wing Prime Minister and probably government with it that Australia's ever had. And it must never be forgotten that 1 in 3 only, if you account for those who didn't vote, in fact, probably less than 1 in 3 Australian voters who were entitled to vote, voted for the current team. Now, that is not to excuse my old team, the coalition. It didn't put up the answers it needed. It didn't address what I would describe as the key issues, which are the defence and the security of the people in a very uncertain world. There's no use having social benefits if you don't have a country to deliver them in. And secondly, the running of a sound economy so that we can address the slide in living standards and we can stop robbing from our children, because that's divisive. Our children, if we don't get our defence right, and if we hand them a tax burden that is so serious they can't enjoy the opportunities that we had, and they can't get into a home because of poor economic management, they won't celebrate our generation the way we celebrate the generations who have gone before us, who have made great sacrifices, who've given us a country and a standard of living and freedoms that, whilst the country might not be perfect, are plainly amongst the very, very best in the world. We've lost our way and people are becoming cynical. And even I noticed on a comment the other day, I think it might have been a Canadian, who wrote in and said, I have lost a lot of respect for the Aussies in recent times. I pick that up quite a bit. As an Australian, it causes me great concern, because we've always been a mid-sized country that's been a great contributor, not a traveller, when it comes to trying to improve humanity's lot here and internationally. Now, can the coalition be saved? Of course it can. It requires firm leadership. It requires the willingness to stake out real ground, real policy ground, and go and argue it. It should never be forgotten that the polls were showing that the proposed voice to entrench a class of categorised people in the Constitution that was different to other Australians enjoyed tremendous support early on. After the arguments had been really mounted and people engaged in them, it completely flipped, and overwhelmingly Australians came to a different position. That's the power of leadership, of staking out your ground, of arguing it, of showing conviction, and above all, given that Australians are committed to fairness, I want to make this very powerful point. Australians will respond to powerful arguments for fairness. The reality is that whilst we, on the matter of the voice, all have concerns that Indigenous Australians do well, I certainly am very committed to that, the idea of entrenching categorisation in the Constitution when its very principle, underlining principle, is to ensure total equality before the law, no matter who you are, if you're an Australian citizen, was not seen as fair. Argue the case, present the policies, believe that you have a better direction for Australia, because that's what Australians are looking for.